welcome to another episode of Other Items of Interest. I'm your host, Jack Zablocki. This week we have it all. We have spaghetti, we have bathwater, we have rat meat, we have family dysfunction, and that's just the first half of the show. So, stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to Other Items of Interest. I'm Jack Zablocki. Kind of a reoccurring theme. Start off the show with updates about construction. I'm sure you're thrilled to hear about it again. They came early this morning. They did their work. I thought they were going to be here longer. They're not, so I hope we're in the clear. They added a new element of noise. Somebody brought a radio and was blasting country music while they worked. And not like good country music like Johnny Cash or Willie Nelson or Waylon Jennings. None of that good stuff. It was the modern kind of just like pop country. I'm not a country fan as it is, but it was just grating on the ears. I'll take machine work all day. Construction, big trucks, jackhammers, shovels scraping on asphalt. Love all that. I'll take that any day. Country music, no thanks. So that's where we are today. Should be good. I also wanted to address a story going around in the news. It is weird. It is frustrating. It is idiots licking food products in supermarkets and then putting them back on the shelves. I really don't want to cover that because it's infuriating. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen this? It started with one lady. She went to the frozen section, picked out a tub of ice cream, took off the lid, licked it, put the lid back on, put the ice cream back in the freezer for some unsuspecting fool to buy it. I've seen similar videos. That's the other thing. They all videotape themselves, put it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that bullshit. And they're getting arrested, luckily. They're also doing it with sodas. Saw one guy do it with a big jug of Arizona iced tea. He spit right in it, put the cap back on, put it back on the shelf. He chuckled like he was funny. He's just a schmuck. They're all schmucks. So I just wanted to address that. That story's going around, but other than this little message, I'm not going to be covering it because it's disgusting. It's just awful. Otherwise, we got a bunch of other awful stories for the day. So let's get to it, shall we? We shall. Well, our first story comes to us from MSN.com by way of Daily Mail, it seems. Headline reads, "Would-be thief is forced to take off his pants when he stuffs pasta down his underwear and burns himself before a trail of tomato sauce leads to the culprit." That's a hell of a headline. And right up front is some pictures of surveillance video of the culprit. I like that word, culprit. Start using it more. Also check out the website, Other Items of, I almost forgot the name of the show, otheritemsofinterest.com. Check out the show notes. You can read all these articles. I'm reading them to you. I guess you don't need to read them. Maybe you want to email one to somebody or something. But there are pictures usually in video, so you can check those out by checking out the show notes. On to the article. A would-be thief has been forced to pull down his pants and reveal his stolen spaghetti after it quickly started burning his leg. Video of the attempted thief was posted on the Facebook page of a Forest Road Fresh supermarket in Perth, Australia, where he was mocked by the shop owners, adding insult to injury, I guess. Stupidity at its highest form, putting a hot meal of spaghetti down your pants is not only going to burn you, but will expose you to the public for attempted shoplifting, they said. And there's like pictures throughout the article, play-by-play of this moron. And he's a moron. Who put spaghetti down their pants? Hot spaghetti, no less. The footage shows a young man walking in the hot food aisle where he quickly settles on a small aluminum foil container of hot pasta for his lunch. In the full view of a customer browsing the aisle next to him, he opens the waist of his trousers and it slides down his pant leg. The thing is, he looks like he's wearing skinny jeans, so he's doubly stupid. Not for wearing skinny jeans, but trying to shove something into your skinny jeans. Just not going to work. Quickly realizing the heat of the situation, he starts walking towards the registers, but his stride quickly turns into a fast limp as the temperature becomes too much to handle. Now, in quite a lot of pain, he reaches into his pants, but the container has come apart in his trousers as the young man flings out the pasta lid in vain. The shoplifter heads straight for the door, leaving a trail of spaghetti behind him. Awkward. The video quickly racked up comments from people who thought the situation was hilarious, but others were more sympathetic to his situation. And here we have some quotes from that. "Oh my fucking God, I hope that hurt him. If you're actually desperate for food, you just have to ask, not try steal it," one person said. "Spaghetti and meatballs," a man joked. And I really miss watching people shove hot chickens down their pants and try to walk out, a young woman said. I don't know what that's in reference to. Did that actually happen? I don't know. Natural justice in action, said another woman. And last but not least, I'm sure if he spoke to someone, if he was desperate for food, someone would help him out, a commenter said. So there you have it. You got a mixed reaction on putting spaghetti down your pants. I would advise against it. This next one comes from Yahoo Finance from Australia, if that matters to you. au.finance.yahoo.com. Selling $30 bathwater. This 19-year-old's new side hustle. There's pictures of the gamer girl showing off her little jar of bathwater in a tub, it looks like. She's wearing a bathing suit. Cosplaying is a growing side hustle, with some cosplayers even drawing their full income from the dress-up gig. But if it's not your full-time job, it can be extremely costly to fork out for costumes, conferences, and film premieres. One cosplayer, notorious for posting not safe for work content, Belle Delphine. That's right, Belle Delphine. This is not my generation. I don't know any of this shit. She has successfully made a living from dressing up or dressing down as a gamer on Instagram. Earlier this year, Delphine made headlines for trolling her male fans with a misleading Pornhub account, and now she's done it again. 2 days ago, Delphine let her fans know that she would now be offering something I never knew others wanted to buy: bathwater. In a way, it's kind of a evil genius type move. The product name is officially Gamer Girl Bathwater, and it's on sale for $30. It comes in a little jar. It's not too much. I just wonder what people are doing with it. Are they drinking it? I remember I read another article earlier where one guy said he was boiling it down to extract her essence. As ridiculous as that sounds. Anyway, here we go. Quote, "I am now selling my bathwater for all you thirsty gamer boys. Check out my new shop where I am selling stuff for you." There's another picture from Instagram, I believe. She's got pink hair, pink headphones, a pink controller, jar of bathwater in the other hand. She's wearing a bathing suit, one piece, sitting in a bathtub full of water. I guess making the next batch. While some of her male fans were excited at the opportunity, others were pretty revolted by the idea. I can see that. "Every day we stray further and further away from God," one Instagram user commented. "Gross," another wrote. Others were impressed by the teen's idea. "Belle is smart." A quote from somebody, I don't know who. "Unfortunately, the bathwater is currently out of stock," if you can believe that. For some reason I can, and I don't know if it's sad or funny. I guess more power to her. She's using capitalism to her advantage. I think working in airport customs must be interesting, especially at an international airport, a major one. Headline reads, Rat meat seized from passenger arriving at O'Hare, from ChicagoSunTimes.com. A man tried to import it was 32 pounds, of African rat meat in the U.S. after flying into O'Hare International Airport. The man declared the 32 pounds of meat to customs officials June 26 when his flight arrived from the Ivory Coast, according to Steve Bansbach, spokesman for the Chicago Office of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The meat was confiscated and destroyed, Bansbach said. The man did not face a fine and continued on his journey. That must be rough, losing 32 pounds of rat meat. That's got to be quite a few rats to get 32 pounds worth. Unless they're like some kind of huge African rat I don't know about. He was forthcoming with it, Bansbach said. When he arrived, he claimed it, and we inspected it. We try to educate people like him so it doesn't happen next time. Customs officials prohibit the entry of African meats to prevent the spread of diseases, Bansbach said. On an average day, border agents confiscate and destroy about 4,500 prohibited meat, plant, or animal products, according to the CBP numbers from 2018. And that's that. That's 32 pounds of rat meat? It's almost a damn shame they made me get rid of it. And up next we have a small series of dysfunctional family stories. I'll start with this one from the mirror.co.uk. There's a video with this one. We'll get to that in a little bit. Angry dad throws young son at rival fan during baseball game. That's right. The dad hurled his son at a rival fan. An angry baseball fan used his child as a weapon after he flew into a rage during a game on Tuesday. Onlookers watched in disbelief as the man held the youngster by his legs and swung him at a rival fan. The man, believed to be the child's father, was then escorted out by security at the Nippon professional baseball clash between Hanshin Tigers and the Yokohama DNA Baystars in Japan. I don't know if that's DNA, but it's spelled D-E, capital D, lowercase e, capital N, capital A. So is that Dina or DNA? I don't know. You figure it out. Most of the nearby spectators have their attention on what is happening on the field and do not seem to notice the violence behind them. There's some pictures on here. They're kind of grainy because they're taken from a security video where they're just zoomed in on from video captures. So it's hard to tell, but there is a video. It is shocking. Footage of the incident has gone viral after being tweeted by a Twitter user. The tweet translated into English reads, Hanshin fans are on the rampage. The angry fan reportedly saw red after watching his side, the Hanshin Tigers, go 4-0 down. They could have come back from that. The video shows a man wearing a Hanshin Tigers jersey carrying the small child as he is led out of the ground by several security guards. The man begins to goad rival fans, but they try not to retaliate and ignore him. Well, good on them. But then the man seems to take particular exception to another man sat watching the game and flings isn't the right word. If you watch the video, it's more like hurls the child at him, striking the man on the head. The rival fan quickly gets up and tries to confront him before the man and child are ushered out of the grounds by security. I watched the video. It seems like a normal game going on. They're trying to get somebody out, and when he hurls this kid, I was so shocked. I exclaimed, "Oh my God," very loudly. And I don't have outbursts like that normally. I'm a quite reserved individual. But man, that was shocking. The video has been shared more than 16,000 times with viewers sharing their disgust. In a translated tweet, one user says, "The person should be monitored by the child counseling office and the police a little. It's too bad to throw your child in a fight." I think it's too bad to throw your child at any point. Another user said it was horrible parenting. It's a little obvious. It is not known if any further action has been taken against him, but social media reports claim the father was later picked up by the police. Good. And continuing our dysfunctional family fiesta from abcactionnews.com. Boy stabs brother in Florida, says jail is better than 8-hour drive with sibling. You ever go on long family vacations where you gotta sit in the back seat with a sibling? I don't have any siblings of my own, so I never had to deal with that. But from stories I've heard of friends, I'm kind of glad I'm an only child. Florida authorities say a 13-year-old Tennessee boy charged with stabbing his brother told investigators he'd rather go to jail than spend 8 hours in the car with his sibling. Deputies with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office arrested the boy Saturday and charged him with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Investigators say he stabbed his 15-year-old brother in the arm 3 times with a pocket knife. Jeez. Anybody in the front seat, either parents, say anything? Don't make me turn this car around. You stab your brother again. As he was being questioned about the incident, he said he understood his rights and that he didn't regret stabbing his brother. This kid is hardcore, who had been teasing him. Deputies say the boy told them, "I'd rather be in jail than 8 hours in the car with him." The boy lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, northwest of Nashville, if you were curious about that. And finishing off our dysfunctional family extravaganza from ktla.com. You may have already seen this, the video, if you haven't read about it already. Caught on video, fight breaks out at Disneyland's Toontown as children watch. And the video is included on the KTLA page here. It's long for a fight. It's pretty long. Might not be easy to watch for some people as children are involved, but you decide that for yourself. A family fight that turned violent in Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland over the weekend is being investigated by Anaheim police on Monday after a video of the brawl was posted to social media. The Anaheim Police Department said everyone involved in the fight belonged to the same family and that they were uncooperative when officers responded to the scene. Really, check out the video. It's insane. Those who participated in the melee were removed from the park and turned over to police, according to Liz Yeager, a spokeswoman for the Disneyland Resort. What's interesting also is, to me anyway, it's like over $100 for a ticket. There's at least 5 adults in the family, and at least 2 kids. I don't know if there were more. That's probably $1,000 down the drain for acting like a bunch of jerks. Any type of violence is inexcusable and will not be tolerated, Yeager wrote in an emailed statement. The incident apparently began with an argument between a brother and sister. Anaheim Police Sergeant Darren Wyatt told the Associated Press. The family members were standing near Goofy's Playhouse on Saturday when a man and a woman pushing a stroller with 2 children in it became embroiled in a heated argument, according to the nearly 4.5-minute video posted on YouTube on Sunday. The posting of the video online is what spurred detectives to continue the investigation, police said. The verbal altercation turned physical when a woman in a white tank top appeared to spit at a man in a red t-shirt, who then took a swing at her. They could be seen hitting each other before a man in a white t-shirt intervenes, and the 2 men trade blows. A woman wearing a tank top comes forward and starts yelling at them before becoming a part of the fracas. While this is this is insane. While this is happening, a crowd of stunned bystanders watches, among them children whose loud cries can be heard in the background Others try to usher their young ones quickly past and away from the escalating scene. Family members as well as park employees try to intervene and defuse the situation, but the melee continues for several minutes. A woman in a motorized scooter, apparently the mother of one of the men, tries to break up the fight and later is seen being inadvertently knocked over when two other women start throwing punches at each other. One of these women is also knocked to the ground after being slapped in the face and grabbed by her tank top by the man in red. "I'm ready to go to jail tonight," he says as several parkgoers try to help the woman. Well, at least he was ready to go to jail. Prepared himself. The woman in tan shouts something, and then the man, who can be heard saying something about the woman hitting his mother, goes over and starts beating her, the video shows. That's when several bystanders step in and take the man down. At that point, roughly 3.5 minutes into the video, Disneyland security personnel arrive at the scene. Seems like a slow response time. I imagine they have cameras all over the park, and I know they have tunnels underneath for quick access to various regions of the park. Why it took 3.5 minutes, I have no idea. It's unclear how much time elapsed between the time the incident was reported and when they got there. A spokesman for the Anaheim City Attorney's Office said a decision on whether to file charges in the case will come after police finish their investigation. Officials have not identified anyone in the video. And there's the video again. If you watch the video, you can hear a woman in the background. She calls 911 to let the 911 operator know that there's a brawl in Toontown. We're in front of Goofy's house. And I shouldn't, it's a terrible happening, but it's so insane and so absurd. My goodness. That's all I can say is my goodness. Check out the video. This is just kind of shake my head material. From chroniclelive.co.uk. Man caught masturbating on train to Newcastle tells police it was to relieve stress. Well, he had his reasons, I guess. A man caught masturbating on a train to Newcastle told police he had been doing it on and off for an hour and a half to relieve stress. Jordi Cornelius Yeboué was caught out when a female Network Rail staff member sat next to him on the busy service from London King's Cross in March this year. Newcastle Crown Court heard the horrified witness saw him making slow, methodical movements with his hand in his crotch. This story skeeves me out. Prosecutor Chris Knox said the woman noticed his movements becoming more vigorous and told him, "I hope you're not doing what I think you're doing." But after saying no and turning away, the 24-year-old appeared to start again later on. He had to relieve stress. That's all he was doing. The court heard that the woman had to get off the train at York, but was upset and worried for other passengers, including two elderly ladies who were sitting nearby. When the train arrived at Newcastle, Yeboué was spoken to by police, admitting that he had been masturbating to relieve stress. Sticking to his guns on that one. Mr. Knox told the court he said he had been doing this for an hour and a half, off and on, but said he had never ejaculated. Well, good on him. Yeboué from Charlton in London pleaded guilty to outraging public decency. The court heard he had taken drugs the night before after celebrating a friend's graduation and was in some kind of stupor. Mr. Knox said when the witness sat next to Yeboué, he was wearing shorts and had a sweatshirt covering his crotch. She was concerned that he was masturbating, so she tried to show him she had a Network Rail jacket and identity card, trying to dissuade him from what he appeared to be doing. She noted that the movements became more vigorous, and two other women were sitting on the same row. The court heard that when the woman said, "I hope you're not doing what I think you're doing," he replied, "No, I'm sorry," and then changed position. Mr. Knox said she thought he was concealing what he was doing, although she couldn't see an erection. She had to get off the train, but as soon as she left the train at York, she contacted the police. She described herself as being angry, not least because she had given him the chance to stop what he was doing. Tony Kornberg, defending, said this was out of character for him, as was the taking of the drugs the night before. It was not behavior targeted at anybody. We even hear about him turning away. It all took place under clothing. Why are you trying to rationalize? I know you're the defending guy, but why are you trying to rationalize this? It's nutty. No pun intended. He expresses understanding and empathy for the witness's shock and distress. Judge Robert Sprague sentenced Yeboué, who had no previous convictions, to a 12-month community order requiring him to carry out 15 days rehabilitation activity and 80 hours of unpaid work, otherwise known as community service. The judge said, "You are clearly very ashamed of your behavior. You are a highly qualified, hardworking person. I have no doubt that this was totally out of character." Happy ending, I guess? Oh, I don't mean it that way. I just meant for the guy. All right, I'm done with this story. From 10daily.com.au, this is more of a public service announcement than a news article, I think. Woman dies after metal straw punctures her eye and brain. You know those little metal straws you buy for yourself? You can reuse so you don't use the plastic ones? Yeah, I'm not using one of those anymore. A 60-year-old woman is dead after she tripped while carrying a mason jar, drinking glass, and a metal straw stabbed through her eye. Alina Struthers Gardner, a 60-year-old retired jockey in Dorset, United Kingdom, was carrying the jar with a metal lid and attached straw when she fell in her kitchen last November. The straw, held in place by the lid, punctured through her eye and deep into her brain, causing catastrophic damage. Detective Inspector Wayne Seymour, who led the investigation into Struther Gardner's death after Bournemouth police were called to the hospital, told the Dorset Coroner's Court that medical staff had never seen an injury like that. She had suffered multiple fractures in her spine throughout her jockey career and suffered mobility issues as a result. Is that a thing? Spine fractures for jockeys? I guess if they get thrown by a horse maybe or something? I don't know. Anyway, according to her wife of 4 years, Mandy, she was prone to falling randomly like a sack of potatoes, she is quoted as saying. Alina was rushed to hospital after the fall, but died after her life support was switched off the next day, following advice from medical staff that it was unlikely she would survive the injury. And there's another picture of metal straws to scare you. Mandy said in court she thought, in the hands of mobility-challenged people like Alina, or children, or even able-bodied people losing their footing, these things are so long and very strong. There's a big quote in the middle that says, even if they don't end a life, they can be very dangerous. I suppose. Metal straws have grown in popularity in recent years with growing consciousness of plastic waste and a focus on cutting use of single-use plastics. One Australian study over the 2018 Christmas period found that reusable goods such as straws and coffee cups had a sales increase of more than 1,000% compared with the 2017 season. Assistant Coroner Brendan Allen issued a warning about the straw, saying that great care should be taken when using them. If someone does fall on one and it's pointed in the wrong direction, don't you want to point it in the wrong direction, like away from you? If it's pointed in the right direction, that means it would get you. Maybe he's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anywho, if it's pointed in the direction of your face, serious injury can occur, he said. Mandy Struthers Gardner stated to reporters after the hearing that she misses her wife and she was taken far too early. I hope this never happens to anyone else. Me too. I think nobody wants this to happen to anybody else. Maybe like really bad people. But really bad people, they're going to be using the plastic straws, right? I don't know. And we have a nice short, sweet one From coin.com, KOIN, Channel 6. Their slogan is watching out for you. It's not one of those ones that's on your side. This one's watching out for you. Headline reads, man faces DUI after neighbor reports stolen cereal. And right up top we have the mugshot. Check that out if you'd like. A man was arrested for DUI after his neighbor called the police over a stolen box of Cheerios. The Washington County Sheriff's Office said a man in the Bethany area reported that his neighbor, Robin Bolin, drove by and stole a box of cereal that was on top of his car. I don't know why he had a box of cereal on top of his car. Maybe he was getting his groceries out. No clue. Doesn't say. Bolin, 25, then reportedly got back into his car and drove to his nearby house. The neighbor who called said he followed Bolin to get his cereal back. Vigilante justice. Bolin had poured himself a bowl and was also drinking a beer, the sheriff's office said. That's gross. Milk and beer. Ugh. The neighbor declined Bolin's offer to share a bowl of cereal. Trying to be diplomatic, I guess. When deputies arrived, Bolin was arrested for DUI with a blood alcohol content nearly twice the legal limit. And you don't want that in Oregon. They got some pretty strict laws for DUIs. Why would you, I guess he was drunk, but why would you steal a box of cereal off the top of somebody's car? You think you're funny? You're not funny. It's somebody else's Cheerios. Go get your own Cheerios. Jesus. You ever hear those stories about somebody getting busted for driving in a carpool lane with like a mannequin or an animal? Try to play it off like it's a person. This is along those lines. From CNN.com, Highway Patrol pulled over a hearse in the HOV lane. The driver pointed to the back and asked, "He doesn't count?" Apparently not. Take note, transporting a corpse doesn't qualify you for the carpool lane. Nevada Highway Patrol Trooper Travis Smaka was on Interstate 15 on Monday when he noticed someone driving solo in the HOV lane. He stopped the car, a Chrysler minivan, and was caught off guard by what the driver said. The driver informed me that he had someone who was deceased in the back of the vehicle, Smaka said. The trooper peered inside, and sure enough, it was equipped like a hearse, with a rail and a gurney holding a deceased person. The driver asked, "So he doesn't count in the back?" Smaka said he got a good chuckle out of it, but informed the driver that no, deceased people do not count. He let the driver off with a warning. "It just threw me off. That was one of the more interesting responses I've gotten," Smaka said. To drive in the HOV lane, there needs to be more than one living occupant in the vehicle, Smaka said. Mannequins and pets don't count, as I stated at the beginning of the article. So yeah, don't try to weekend at Bernie's your carpool lane, I guess. Hey, it's a Florida man story. Feels like we haven't had a Florida man story in a while, a couple of weeks or so. For a while, we couldn't get away from them. Some shows were half Florida man stories and nothing else. From abcnews.go.com, Florida man posing as an officer pulls over an off-duty sheriff's deputy. Leave it up to Florida man. A man posing as a police officer in Florida pulled over another driver this week, but the motorist turned out to be an actual sheriff's deputy. Barry Hastings Jr. was arrested for impersonating an officer when he attempted to pull over an off-duty Lee County Sheriff's deputy, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The deputy was driving on I-4 when a black Crown Victoria with white and amber lights pulled behind him with the emergency lights activated, the sheriff's office said. And then they have a couple of pictures of the guy's car. The whole thing is, the interior is decked out with police equipment. After the deputy pulled his vehicle to the shoulder, the sheriff's office said Hastings, 35, told him to slow down. The balls on this guy. When the deputy twice asked Hastings for his credentials, Hastings insisted he was an officer and that his credentials were at his office, according to the sheriff's office, which said he offered to lead the deputy to the station to get them. Hastings fled when the deputy said he would contact law enforcement and dialed 911, but was stopped by a Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputy when he exited the highway, officials said. And then there's the fellow's mugshot. He does not look too pleased. I guess the gig is up. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said a functional siren box and light setup were found in Hastings' vehicle, as well as a CB radio, according to the Sheriff's Office, which said no handcuffs or firearms were found. Amanda Granite, a spokeswoman for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, told ABC News that Hastings bonded out of the Hillsborough County Jail early Friday. And of course, the last sentence for most of these articles was, it was not immediately clear if Hastings had legal representation. So there's that. Just a bad decision, isn't it? These guys who pretend to be emergency service personnel. It never ends well for them. It shouldn't, really. And here's a weird one. I mean, they've all been kind of weird in a way. But this one strikes me particularly weird. From WPRI.com. Dead llama mysteriously washes ashore at East Mattanock. A dead llama washed up on a beach. That's weird. Authorities at the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, otherwise known as DEM, are scratching their heads as to why a dead llama recently washed up on East Mattanock State Beach. DEM spokesperson Mike Healy said the llama was found on the shoreline of the South Kingstown Beach last weekend. It's really bizarre. When we think of marine mammals washing ashore, we don't think of a llama, Healy said. And why would you? On Wednesday, the dead llama was brought to the nearby Great Swamp Management Area to be buried. The DEM's veterinarian determined the llama showed no signs of maltreatment, didn't have a microchip, and was not shot or killed. Healy said the town wanted the llama off the beach prior to the holiday weekend since it posed a health hazard. I don't know, you let the kids, make it like a thing. Let the kids poke the dead llama with a stick. Little Billy gets his turn, he moves aside. Little Sally gets to poke the dead llama with a stick. Could be fun for the kids. Maybe, probably not. Let's move on. Okay, from AL.com, that AL short for Alabama. That's where we're coming from with this one. It's a little tacky. Let's just get on with it. There are pictures with this one because there just has to be. Headline reads, Pastor builds monster truck for Jesus. And right up top you have your pictures. It's a big blue truck lifted. Let's just get to the article because this is ridiculous. The Reverend Terry Billings built a monster truck for Jesus. It's the Jesus truck, Billings said. The tailgate has dripping blood painted on it with the slogan, covered in mud, but washed in blood. See where I'm going with the tacky? Yeah. Billings takes the heaven-bound mud bogger, to car shows, revivals, and patriotic celebrations at churches where it inevitably attracts attention. If you want to get your picture with the truck, first you have to hear my story, Billings said. Oh, God. The story starts with an old farm truck worth about $300 and a rum-drinking farmer. It was a 1987 Chevrolet four-wheel drive pickup truck that Billings bought used in 1991. He used it as a mud truck on the farm where he raised cattle and chicken. It was my farm truck, he said. The kids got in it and we'd ride through the mud. But the driver was in desperate need of Jesus, Billings said. I think this is a confusing article to me because he's talking about himself in the third person. It's really annoying. I drank a lot and lived a bad life, he said. I was an alcoholic. My son Kyle got saved and I went to watch him get baptized. I lived a life that was not of God. I was drinking a fifth of rum a day. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I was cussing. As far as I know, of the 10 Commandments, drinking, smoking, and cussing are not in there. He was in the clear. Billings said he decided to turn his life over to Jesus in July 2004, admitting he lived a life of sin and needed to be saved. I was so ashamed, he said. He gave up all his vices. No more drinking rum, no more smoking cigarettes, no more foul language. Once he gave his heart to Jesus, his life changed instantly, he said. I couldn't muster a cuss word, Billings said. It was my primary language before. He hasn't wanted an alcoholic drink since, he said. My hunger became for God's word, Billings said. The way this article is written annoys the shit out of me. Billings became owner of Billy's Barbecue in Gordo in 2009. He was also ordained and served as a bivocational pastor of Forest Baptist Church in Gordo. At the restaurant and in church, Billings saw a lot of troubled people. People are stuck in life, he said. That's when he got a vision of a mud truck plowing its way through the mud as a metaphor for Jesus, helping people have the power to get unstuck from what bogs them down in life. Oh boy. In 2016, God gave me a vision, Billings said. It involved his old farm truck. That's what he said use, Billings said. It took 2 years to build it. Among the first people Billings talked to were Trey Robertson and his father Kip, owners of Crank and Chrome Garage in Tuscaloosa. When they heard his vision, they offered to work on it. We did the labor for about 50% of what we normally charge, Trey Robertson said. When the Robertsons began pitching ideas about what they could do, Billings could see the cost for parts rising. He asked how much it would cost. I don't have any money, Billings said. I thought you said God was doing this, he said, the Robertsons replied. As word spread, donations poured in. The truck cost more than $100,000 in improvements to turn into a monster truck, Billings said. This guy has a racket going. Jeez Louise. The truck has 52-inch tractor tires with Heavenbound stamped in the metal in the wheels, they're like blue rims. They're really tacky. They just clash against the black tire. The truck is blue though, so I don't know. Back to the article. The motor cost about $18,000 and runs at 850 horsepower on pumped gas and closer to 1,000 horsepower on race gas, Trey Robertson said. I don't know if that means anything to you because it doesn't. I don't know anything about cars at all. It opens up so many avenues of metaphors getting stuck in the mud, Trey Robertson said. You can relate that to being a Christian, Robertson said. There's times you get stuck and you've got to rely on God. But Billings didn't accept donations from anyone who wanted to advertise on the truck, which no longer even has its Chevy insignia. Nobody's name is on it except for Jesus, Billings said. Billings formed the Heavenbound Mud Bogger. It's written as Mug Bogger, but it's Heavenbound Mud Bogger Ministry in 2017 that would accept donations to maintain and show the truck and take it to events. Billings serves as director. He really does have a racket going around this truck. He traded all his vices for this hobby, is what he did. I had to sell the truck for $10 to the ministry, Billings said. It actually belongs to God, and he lets me drive it. This is nuts. The truck debuted for the public on April 23, 2018. On Sunday, it was featured at the patriotic celebration at Hillcrest Baptist Church in Anniston. Adults and children seemed equally fascinated and mesmerized by the truck. They eagerly climbed a ladder to get into the cab. Billings shared his testimony and handed out New Testaments and pamphlets about the mud truck ministry to everyone who stopped by. He proclaimed a simple message. Even though we're sinners, God still loves us, he said. The steering wheel of the heaven-bound mudder is easily removed, and Billings uses it to make his spiritual point. He asked how the truck would drive without it. It would go straight into the ditch, they say. Well, why would you drive anything without a steering wheel? Why would you get in the truck and put the ignition on, hit the gas, and hope it drives? It's stupid. This whole thing is stupid. I'm half-minded to stop this article now, but I'm almost done. So he says the same is true for living without Jesus, Billings said. I guess Jesus is your steering wheel? I don't get it. You can't steer it without Jesus, he said. You have to have him. Let him be the driver. Wouldn't Jesus help you if you got into by his logic, wouldn't Jesus help you if you got into a truck without a steering wheel then? I mean, there's still a steering column with the mechanism inside. I don't know why I'm trying to rationalize this. Billings will be taking the truck to Little River Park in Monroeville on July 3rd, where he'll run it through a mud pit as part of a patriotic celebration. I don't get that either. This is bothersome. Take her for a spin, Billings said as people climbed into the cab of the truck parked in the church lot of Anniston. I guarantee everybody will get out of your way. What kind of statement is that? You running people down now? To hell with this. I'm done. Done. I'm sorry if I've ruined the show at this point. I think we're going to end the show on a happy note. There's been some weird stories today. And that last one about the Jesus truck just annoyed the hell out of me. From MiamiHerald.com, even poop is cute at Japanese museum that encourages play. And there are a lot of pictures with this one. They are impressive. Pictures of, not real poop, but like emoji poop. It's Japanese cute, you know. Japan's culture of cute makes no exceptions for poop. It gets a pop twist at the Unko Museum in Yokohama near Tokyo. Here the poop is artificial, nothing like what would be in a toilet, and comes in twisty ice cream and cupcake shapes, in all colors and sizes. The poops are colorful and come out nicely in photos, said Haruka Akubo, a student visiting part of the museum devoted to all-important selfies. The shape is so round and cute. She was also quoted as saying, she's right. In Japan, little poop-shaped erasers with faces and other small items have long been popular items collected by children and sometimes older folks. As elsewhere, scatological jokes are popular and bodily functions discussed openly. A recent morning variety show by public broadcaster NHK featured tips on how to deal with farts. Visitors to the museum get a short video introduction and then are asked to sit on one of 7 colorful, non-functional toilets lined up against the wall. Music plays as a user pretends to poop. Then a brightly colored souvenir poop can be collected from inside the toilet bowl to be taken home after the tour. A ceiling-high poop sculpture in the main hall erupts every 30 minutes, spitting out little foam poops. The unstagenic area of Instagram-worthy installations includes pastel-hued flying poops and a neon sign with the word poop written in different languages. In another room, players use a projection mapping game like Whack-A-Mole to stamp on and squash the most poops they can. In another game, participants compete to make the biggest poop by shouting the word in Japanese, unko, as loudly as possible. A soccer video game involving controller to kick a poop into a goal. Toshifumi Okuya, a system engineer, was amused to see adults having fun. It's funny because there are adults running around screaming, poop, poop, he said. At the end of the tour, visitors get a bag to carry home their souvenir poop. If they want still more, the museum's gift shop abounds with more poop-themed souvenirs. The museum attracted more than 100,000 visitors in the first month after its opening in March. It will remain open until September. And there are several pictures associated with the poops, which I can't seem to find on the page, but I explained everything that you would see. So there you have it, poops. I don't think I've said poop so much in one article, in one story, ever. So poops to everybody. Cue the music. And now we're at the end of the show. This has been Other Items of Interest. I've been Jack Zablocki. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it much. Visit us online at otheritemsofinterest.com. We'll see you next week. Well, we won't see anybody next week. It's a podcast. Well, you can hear us next week, and you can listen if you'd like. No pressure. Have a good time. Bye-bye, everybody.